we surfaced all of the case data of the more than 1,400 firearms that we have taken, our officers, Metro Police officers, have taken off of the streets over the last 3 years. So nearly at a rate of 500 firearms, illegal firearms taken off the street each year. And each of those has a case number that allows you to track them all the way through the court system. And when we actually did this exercise, it was an exercise of several months. We were really very shocked at the result, because only 5% of those cases had actually gone all the way through to a guilty verdict, to a conviction in the court system. 5%. 95% of those cases had failed in prosecution. And overwhelmingly, in more than, of those 95 that failed, in 80% of those cases, the failure was an investigative failure. There was some inadequacy in the investigation that made the case fall apart. And we categorized what those main failures were, and I don't need to go into all of that. But just think about that for a second. Here you have an officer getting a gun off a person, that's a suspect, handing that person over to SAPS. Here is suspect A, caught with firearm A. That should be a conviction on a silver platter. And yet in 95% of those cases, it's failing. Now, can you just imagine, in all the sexual violence cases, in all the domestic violence cases, in all the murder cases, all the others which we are not necessarily directly involved in, what the failure rates there are? So it was very clear to us that if you want to find a button to push to make, or a lever to pull to make the biggest difference, to have the best leverage in the criminal justice system, it's in the investigation space, which is why we've pushed hard for investigative powers to be delegated down to the city officers. At the moment, we do what I generally call visible policing. That's just shorthand for we do street patrol, but we do not do investigative policing at all. And I think we could make a really meaningful difference. Again, this is not about empire building or in the ANC's kind of worst interpretation of this, is not about secessionism. It's just about what gives you better public outcomes. And we think that delegating more of those powers downwards is essential for better crime fighting.